I think we're here.
There we go.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Hey, hey, hey. Welcome back to another episode of Everybody Loves Bliss. Good Lord, it took us forever to get this episode started. Hey, Ross Cooper.
What's
By the way,
going on?
hey, I'm Bliss, by the way, people. I'm just so happy that we are finally getting this episode done. It's Sunday night. We're supposed to have this episode up, what, Wednesday?
A few days ago, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, to let the people know, we're here finally. We promised you we'd get a show to you sometime. Ugh, as hairs in my face. Um, on Sunday. So it's gonna be Sunday somewhere when this show finally gets
Right.
to our people. But really what's happened is that Ross Cooper is in you're in Texas.
Yeah, I'm down in Texas and
Oh gosh. It's been
yeah.
hell.
Yeah. Yeah, it absolutely has been. It's been colder down here than it has been on record for what, since like WW2, something crazy like that. So I'm glad I'm able to record because I actually have lights back on. That's a fairly recent occurrence.
Do you have
Still
water?
no, nah. I
Wow.
had water for like 2 hours and they had to shut it back off.
Wow.
Apparently there was more leaks. Like the apartment across from mine has been completely gutted. I think
Wow.
yeah, it was all kind of insulation on that nonsense on the hallway floor. So I'm over here looking rough, rugged, and raw right now.
Well, I actually look, I'm just gonna tell you, I like the beard. I do.
Ah,
You said it was rough. I was like, wow.
oh
It's,
man, I'm looking like
no, no, I'm
I
gonna
don't
let the
need
ladies, the ladies and the gentlemen who don't mind a gentleman, I'll let them comment and send us
man,
comments on
man.
that. I like the beard. You were
I don't
like,
do
I what?
I don't do the face sweater. That's what everybody else. I don't do the face sweater. I
I
think,
know, but it works, right? But we can hardly see you with the hat and the glass.
yeah,
I mean,
I'm looking real New York right now. We got the bucket on, got the bucket low. I'm looking real New York right now. I understand.
okay,
I'm just
which you covering a situation under the hat? Is that what you're doing?
that's the other thing. I can't get the fresh baldy neither. So yeah,
Okay. Well,
so
yeah. Well, I'm glad you were able to join us for tonight's show. And just so folks know, yeah, I could have recorded the show. I could have recorded the show. I could have brought in a guest. I'm known for having guests come in and record, but I am not Ted Cruz. I am not
ah,
I am not abandoning you in your time of need. I'm not that kind of host. That is not what Bliss is about. I waited for you. I'm here to record for you. So I'm really honestly I'm glad because that situation we're making light of it, but the situation in Texas has been horrendous. It has been absolutely horrendous. And we I'm so happy that, the only thing you've had to deal with is loss of electricity and water. And I know that's not a simple thing. I don't make light of that. But I know
yeah,
people lost property in Texas. People, I mean, apartments completely and homes completely flooded. Houses, pipes bursting everywhere, people actually freezing to death, people starving. And we are very thankful that you're okay. And we send our prayers out to everyone who's been affected by this weather, not just in Texas, but places like Louisiana as well, and
mm,
different parts of the country. This is serious, and we're going to talk about it. So you were kind enough to go back to your apartment because I know you've been other places where the lights have been consistent and you can actually have a drink of water. So we're not going to keep you too long in your location. But how so you've been hanging in there. You're pretty. You look like you're okay. I know you don't like the beard situation and the hair situation, but you look good.
right.
So yeah. What are you drinking tonight? I did. Would
Oh,
you encourage you to get a
we
little
got
something extra?
we got joy in a bottle, man. We got ginger beer, extra ginger. So it's got a
Oh,
little
look at
extra bite
you.
to it.
Extra ginger. No
Yeah, we like
alcohol,
that
but
little
extra
bite.
ginger. You're a fighter, you are. Well, tonight I'm in my purple big boy thing. I'm just doing water tonight. I know it's unusual, people. I know I usually have a little bit of wine or something, but tonight yeah. Mm-mm, just doing the water. So speaking of, I made light, Ted Cruz. Uh, I mean, it's really, I think that he's been worn out every other place. Saturday Night Live just did that major skit on him. I mean, there's nothing else to say. He's a piece of shit. I mean, just point blank, period.
Well,
Abandoning the post. I love how he blamed his kids. I love that little extra
right.
added bit that he did by blaming the daughters that they needed an escort to Cancun. Yeah, I love that. I mean, what is there to say? I mean, excuse me. Okay.
He needs see, I didn't think about this, and this is why I'm not heavy into politics.
Okay.
With old Trump gone, right? You
Okay.
got 70 million MAGAs with no head of MAGA. Someone's got to step in that role. So why not old Teddy boy?
How is that stepping in anything? He ran away. That ain't stepping
Exactly.
up.
You know,
That ain't stepping
like even Donald is somewhere like, no, that's not how you do it. Even Donald is probably like, that's not how you do it.
People talk about the optics of what he's done. Bad optics.
Exactly.
It is just it's not just bad optics, because bad optics is that it just looks bad. It speaks to what we already know. It is the continuation of the audacity to be that blatantly careless, that blatantly inhumane, just totally no regard, just heartless. And that's what it speaks to. And I think at this point, anybody that is trying in any way to support Ted Cruz, support his existence, not only as a politician, but as a human, really needs to be checked and needs to be checking themselves. I mean, that just is just it's so deplorable. It's there's really not a whole lot to be said about it. It's deplorable. It is who he is, but it also speaks to you all who have continued to support him. He's letting you know without question, he's not worthy. He doesn't care about you, doesn't care about your concerns. He's not there to serve you. So why are you continuing to support this man?
Because
Because the
Texas is
question more is
Texas.
about his supporters than it is about him at this point, from my perspective.
I mean, he almost lost to Beto O'Rourke. He will probably next go around. I don't know if anybody was paying attention, but one, Beto O'Rourke almost beat Ted Cruz. And then two, Texas didn't go die hard red for the presidential election. Texas was blue for a while. And then as more votes came in, it eventually turned red. As someone who lives here, I'm pretty sure within the next 10 years, Texas is going to be blue because there's a lot of California transplants moving in. Yeah, they're bringing that good old California liberalism with them.
Yeah, they are. And let me add to this. Out of there's a report that says about 75,000, and I think it's more than that. About 75,000 African Americans have left California since the pandemic. Okay, 75,000. Out of the 75,000, it's estimated a little under 10,000 have chosen Texas. So I don't think it's going to take 10 years. I think in the next 3 to 5 years, Texas is gonna be consistently a blue state. I really think that's gonna happen. Now, with what's happening now, I know some folks are going, "Why the hell did I come here?" But
Yeah,
I think
that's
that's giving people um, more energy and more reason to get involved in the
mhm.
process of election of politics there in Texas, because nobody wants to see this again.
No,
What is happening there could have been avoided. And that's the sad part.
totally.
You've got a shitty ass governor. You've got shitty ass senators. The Tim Boyd, the mayor of Colorado City. I hadn't even heard of Colorado City. Texas prior to that. That
No one did.
listen, right? That Darwinistic survival of the fittest shit that he was spewing, but
That's the most Texas shit ever, though. Like, as someone that is living here as a transplant from the glorious Empire State, that is the most Texas shit ever. That is absolutely in line with how a lot of these cats think. It is scary.
well,
It is scary.
well, if you know that, there's two things. Why did you choose there? I mean, is it? I mean, there's some great things about Texas. I mean, I'm assuming you chose it because the cost of living is great. The taxes are. I mean, there's some great things about Texas. And
Yeah,
prior to this, the weather had been pretty damn good. So,
yeah.
so
The
I'm
cost of
assuming.
living is great. The weather, literally in North Texas, outside of the last week, I'm in what I would consider to be weather nirvana because I'm pretty much natural disaster proof. And then my other profession, which is fitness, outside of California, you are not going to find a better fitness hub anywhere in the country.
Okay.
You're just not.
Okay.
It is home. It is a bodybuilding and fitness hotbed. That's what I do. So yeah, I was aware of the politics. I'm aware of if the South and Republicans were a video game, I'm the last level boss. Like there's the South and then there's Texas.
Okay.
Like that's the height of the height. So I'm aware of what I'm getting myself into, especially coming from, the liberal North. But the pros typically outweigh the cons because I
Right.
moved to this stage in my life where I'm not just going to punch you in the face for saying something dumb. I understand there's a bigger game to be played.
It's a
So
bigger
I
game.
just let the ignorant stay ignorant, but it does raise an eyebrow sometimes. Like,
Right. Well,
there's a,
I'm sorry. I just wanted you to say that because I wanted to make it make sense.
Mhm.
Because there are all these things with Texas, but there's a lot of reasons why people are still coming to Texas in spite of. And there are some changes happening in Texas, thank God. And what you said is really important. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Real quick, and I'm not going to go too far off topic with this one,
Oh
but
Lord.
no, not go too far. I'm not going to go too far rogue, but I bet you after the next election, it will be priority A to finally get rid of the electoral college. Why? Because once it
Mm,
flips, California, New York, and now Texas will all be blue. You want to count electoral votes? You can't win. That's a landslide.
so
Unless down there, every other state is red. When California, Texas, and New York are all blue,
that'll be so you're saying that'll be a because we've talked about this on the show that it's made no
Mhm.
sense for the
Right.
last 5 elections we've talked about, it's come up, the electoral college has made no sense, but you're saying because of these states turning blue you think that, and it would have to be the Republicans that are going to
Oh,
put.
absolutely. They're
Yeah.
going to raise holy hell. I bet you they get rid of it then. Oh, it's not
Yeah.
fair. It's not fair. Okay. Because you're
Okay.
about to be shut out. You're about to be shut all the way out. You got the three highest electoral count votes, all being Democratic.
Well, we have to say something about the Republicans. They move in their best interest. I can't say that always is true about Democrats. Democrats don't always do stuff. And I, you know what? Let me balance that out. When it comes to political best interest, Republicans I think, are more proactive than Democrats in terms of political best interest. So I could see that, seeing that if what we're seeing continues to happen, I can agree with you on that. I can
Mhm.
agree. I can agree. Let me ask you this. Did you get one of those crazy gas and electric bills yet? What is the shit with folks in Texas? I don't even know how do you even time that? So the situation just happened last week. People are talking about they're getting 17,000 and $5,000 uh
Yeah,
gas and
I
electric
haven't. I
and
mean,
power bill. What the hell? How do you even do that?
because how Texas set it up is I'd have to reread the article, but long and short of it is you pay for the power per se, and those have some folks obviously have not had power, but those who have, yeah, those grids, like from what I read in the article, I think either you sent me or I read, the grids that have had power, the stations that have had power, they've already made enough money for the year. So it's like I think that's somehow being passed on to the consumers if you still have power. Again, I'd have to read it and requote it, so I don't want to get
Okay.
too, but yeah, it's some folks that's been getting some ridiculous bills. I haven't,
Would
just
you
because
even generate
power
a
ain't been on.
bill from that quickly? You're talking about something that it's a week. How would you even generate that kind of bill from just what happened last week to people already getting bills? People haven't even gotten their stimulus, their little measly $600 yet. Some folks haven't. For how are you generating a?
File under, a phrase I've become very familiar with. That is just Texas being Texas.
Okay.
When
Okay.
when it stops making logical sense, Texas being Texas. Let me see. My state is freezing. People are literally freezing to death. No heat, no
Freezing to
water, no power. And I did specifically say, let's build a wall. And you ain't in Cancun to do nothing but vacation. But let me run to Cancun.
because well,
Texas
his
being Texas.
children, his daughters needed escorting. They needed protection. That's the father's love.
I gotta sound like the old black guy. Yo, what if your rabbit ass mind made you think
Listen,
that made
listen,
any sense?
listen. If this doesn't help folks vote this nut out, I don't know what will. Now the mayor Tim Boyd had enough sense to resign after telling people to. He literally told them, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, get a game plan. The government doesn't owe you anything
Then what
except
did I let you for,
services
you
that you paid
dumbass?
your taxes for, but they don't owe you anything. But here's what I'm going to tell you. I, and listen to me before y'all turn the podcast off.
Oh boy.
This should inspire your asses to get a second plan, all of us, because we have hinted at the fact that you have got to be prepared in these old United States for the unexpected, because we have seen it time and time again in crisis. You may not be taken care of. Do I need to say Katrina? Do I have to
Ooh.
remind folks about New Orleans? But see, people don't take that stuff into consideration. That doesn't stick with them because a lot of folks, it ain't them. It was us. So that doesn't stick with you. And even we forget. We forget that we can't depend on the government to take care of us. Hence the $2,000 in a year. And some folks haven't even gotten the 600 to make it 2,000. So some folks is still sitting on, was it 1200 or was it
About
1,800?
to
I'm
say,
sorry.
you being generous. You
Oh,
just throwing in an extra
I'm
200 we ain't
sorry.
got yet.
I
You
threw
being
in
generous.
I'm sorry. I threw in an extra 200 that doesn't exist. But so let's be real honest. So you and I have hinted, and I've talked about it, and we've not gone into detail yet, and we're still waiting for some guests to confirm about preparation because you do not know. And when we talk about preparation, like generators, extra food, can openers that don't need electricity, solar panels, all of that kind of stuff that you think you don't need because you pay for services.
I remember a
This,
few years ago, it was this show. I forgot it was on A&E or something. There was a show on called Doomsday Preppers. And they had bunkers full of food
there are
and
people, there's
light
a lot
and
of people that
water.
do that. Texas is
And it
full
was
of
like,
Texas
y'all are
too.
crazy. Well, who's looking
No, they're
crazy
not.
now?
They're not.
Who's looking crazy now?
No, they're not. We talked about this. A lot of the folks that were part of that Capitol insurrection, a lot of the folks that participate in that kind are preppers as well. Because a lot of preppers, I don't want to necessarily equate the two, but there is an equation of a lot of radical preppers, mostly not being racist, but white preppers are anti-government. So they are prepared to live off the grid. I've said this before, so I repeat myself a lot just because I want you to hear what I'm saying to you. There's a collective now of Black folks who have prep groups, and they're not separated because there's an issue between the white preppers and the Black preppers. It's just that it's something that we are starting to get into, that knowing how to grow food, even though I don't know what you be able to do in the freezing right now, but inside, and knowing how to have stuff in jars and being able to go downstairs and you got extra blankets or in your house, all of that stuff there are people that are prepped for this stuff. And as crazy as it sounded coming from Tim Boyd, seeing what the government will and will not do for you,
Ding, wake up
big
call.
wake up call. And we keep getting them, right? We keep getting them, and then stuff smooths out, and we go, oh, okay, it's
You
going to
hit the
be taken
snooze
care of.
button. Alarm goes off, hit the snooze button.
Right. So yeah, well, at least he had the good sense to resign. Um, so he's gone. But so he gave us that. Ted Cruz is not resigning. You're gonna have to you're gonna have to
Vote
get
him
him
out.
out of there some kind of
No
way. You have
problem.
to vote him out. Um,
Oh, he's toast.
and I love Al Franken, our former Senator Al Franken, who resigned after making, I can't remember what statement he made, former Democrat. Remember, he was a comedian who used to always be on SNL. Then he became a senator. He said something out of the way and they got that ass out of there. He resigned. But he said his statement was, he's like, he said, he said he liked Ted Cruz more than his colleagues. And he says, I like him more than my colleagues and I hate him. So he was like, look, this is how we feel about him, but hating him and him still having a place in government, right? So,
Anyhow,
okay, so Greg Abbott, though, the governor.
yeah. How you like again? Texas being Texas, so you're gonna get yourself up on a national TV show, national news show, talking about,
The Google resources with no power.
and then not even insinuate, to flat out say this is the problem with green energy, and your own energy department was like, nah, fam, this green energy only runs 10% of your state.
How
That
about
going down had nothing to do with this.
how about now? It might be time for him to reconsider the climate crisis, climate change. Maybe looking at that because your state doesn't do this. You
Yeah,
know,
because it's the Green New Deal's fault. They love taking shots at my Congress Bay AOC. Stop taking shots at
oh,
AOC.
your girlfriend did a good job. AOC, look, $3 million, and what was it, 72 hours? Listen,
Yeah. Oh, and another Ted Cruz hit. So rewind time, when the glorious Empire State was going through Hurricane Sandy, guess who voted to not send relief to New York? Ted Cruz
oh, okay, not
voted to not send the relief to New York. And here we are, my Congress Bay from New York, saying, hey, I'm going to get you guys in Texas some money.
Can we remind everyone that AOC Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was a waitress prior to
Waitress in the Bronx, boys and girls.
prior to getting her position. And I'm going to tell you, I was like, when she got it, I was like, what is this bullshit here? What is about to happen? And she has proved herself. So I take back any negatives I've said about her. This girl proves herself. I don't have to agree with everything, but all in all, she shows up. She shows up. So listen, it's going to be interesting the next couple of weeks and the next couple of months with Texas to see what happens with you guys and who stays and who goes. If your governor, why hasn't he signed himself out yet? I don't get it. I mean, the audacity, he should have gone. He should have left with Boyd, but he's still there.
Remember, when it stops making sense, Texas being Texas.
Okay. Well, some federal aid is coming. Biden is sending you some federal aid, so you should get that in. Never, maybe, but you'll get it. You'll get something.
Hopefully
Now,
it doesn't go to the police department. Oh, I'm sorry, Lightfoot. Oops, my bad.
I'm sorry. Are you referring to Chicago spending 60% of their funds on the police department? Is that what you're?
Yeah, I just got a slide. I had to throw that little dart. My bad.
Yeah,
I'm
how
sorry,
about
Mayor
that?
Lightfoot.
Yeah, Mayor Lightfoot, who's been a piece of work since she's got in there, looking a mess and functioning like a derelict the whole time. Derelict in responsibilities, looking like a derelict. I mean, what is there to say about her? How did they get but I mean, they had Rahm Emanuel fall this year, so I don't know what's going on with Chicago. I don't know. There's some money exchanges that happen that get these people in, because how. But see, everybody jumped on the bandwagon with her. I'm going to tell you why. Here I go. Because she had a few intersectionalities that people looked at without looking truly at who she was. She's Black, she's female, and she's LGBTQ. So everybody was on board. Oh, yes, get her in. She's a piece of shit. Get her out. That's all I'm going to say. If
Okay.
in this time, with what is going on in this country, with what has gone on in Chicago, for you to take 60% of your COVID money and give it to the police department with hardly any oversight. That's what I love. Hardly where's the oversight? Where's the requirements? Nothing. Get her, y'all, Chicago. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with y'all. Y'all need to fix that. We not getting, but I wasn't even on the list tonight. We weren't even
Yeah,
talking.
I just
See how you get me?
backhand
Yeah,
dark.
you get me off on the same.
Backhand of dark.
But I mean, listen, the government. We this is a government night because last podcast we talked about a movie. Now we back to talking about the government. Like I said, your federal aid is coming. I don't know how it's gonna show, but how is it gonna show up? We don't know. Y'all better fix some damn grids. Is what that money needs to go to. But how about let's talk about our government because we're still in our first 100 days. So Biden did sign off to give you some money, but he won't be paying your student loans. So it looks like. How about we went from 50,000 to 10,000, and he definitively has let the folks know you will not be getting a $50,000 forgiveness of student loan debt. I'm just gonna say this: $10,000 for me would pretty much.
I'm good.
It would take, but I know for the majority of people with student loan debt,
That's
$10,000 is
like,
not going to make a difference, and he knows that.
I know people that if you forgave 50,000, they still got another 50,000
at least.
So
At
so
least.
the fact that you pussyfooting on this, okay.
And here's the rub: some of them have not even gotten jobs where they make 50,000 a year.
Well, that's where Mr. Yes We Can Obama comes in, because you recall during his presidency, he adjusted it to where you only have to pay based on your income now.
But they're not forgiving it. It
No.
doesn't matter if you're paying. You're just it's just paying for your through your retirement, through your golden years.
Right. That means your manager at McDonald's salary is only going to knock off about that much. And like you said, you're going to be paying this until you like 75.
How about this? How about you forgive and you get rid of, if you don't want to forgive a great portion, how about you get rid of at least the interest? Part of things people get paid off because the interest is so damn high. You pay more on the interest for your student loan than you do on your house.
Right.
That is, come on. We gotta, man. But listen, here's the issue. Let's get back to Biden, because here's the deal. So he definitively has let folks know, no, we're not paying. We're not forgiving $50,000, $10,000 if your ass is lucky. And here's the deal. It's kind of being presented like it's a struggle, to get this. Guess what, people? Biden doesn't need Congress to sign off on the student loan forgiveness. He can actually forgive the debt, even the 50,000, with an executive order. So I want you to be clear about that. This is not, oh, my hands are tied. Oh, I can't do this. It is, I may have promised it when I was running, but now that I've thought about it, I'm not. Now,
peasants.
Right, peasants. Right. So please do not, if somebody tells you his hands are tied and he can't, no, I'm going to need you to go back to civics. I'm going to need you to do some Googling. The Googling you can't do in Texas, but for everybody else to do some Googling and see that your president can get rid of the student loan debt that he promised to. He promised to. So now we're looking at 10,000, maybe.
It's just,
I mean,
take these crumbs, peasants.
Take these peasants and know that we want to keep you in debt. Now, what's going to be interesting is because we haven't had a whole lot of conversation of what happens with all of this. We still have the moratorium on evictions and foreclosures, but let's watch and see what happens with the banks and who's going to get the bailouts when it comes to the foreclosures and the moratoriums on rent. That's going to be interesting to watch. We still don't have an answer on that. But in terms of your student loan debt, and here's the other thing, the $15 an hour.
Oh yeah.
You did hear about the secret conversation with the mayors and governors where he let folks know he's backtracking on the $15 an hour. He doesn't think it's going to be feasible, that it's going to happen. That we have to phase that kind of increase in. So that $15 an hour living wage you thought you were going to get in them 4 years. Nah.
It's gonna take off. It's gonna be a dollar one year, $2 the next year.
It makes more sense to phase it in. That's your president, your Democratic president that you thought was going to make all these changes, that promised those changes. That's what I love. They promised those changes. But and again, this is us with our third party asses, just giving you the facts. We just tore your Republicans. Now we're coming for your Democrats, your president. So these are facts. If you don't like it, it is what it is. Look it up. So we want you to know. The other thing that your president made a statement about when he was talking about the monies for student loan debt, he said that instead of forgiving $50,000, he would rather put more money into early childhood education.
I mean, I guess we talked about this a minute ago off air. I can argue both sides of it. I guess a thing is, why does it have to be an either or? Like what? Just do both, goofball. Just why does that be an either or? Just do both. You pull out money out of thin air anyway. Just do both.
Well, here's the bigger issue: is that you're talking about a whole can of worms when you talk about early childhood education, because you're going to have to deal with the disparity of the school systems across the country. So you've got issues in terms of how you disperse that money anyway, because early childhood education for whom? People in rich communities don't need that money. Okay? They don't need that money. And so you're telling me you're going to fix the school systems in these areas that have been in deficit for years? Is that what you're talking about? And that's a bigger program that you're looking at. Student loan debt is very simple. It's a very simple fix that would help close the wage gap for 40% of Americans. And I don't know out of that because I don't have the numbers for African Americans. Now, keep in mind, I'm not saying that it is the fix that we need to close the racial wealth gap, because I'm still pro reparations. And we're not, that a conversation, we're not even going there tonight. But it would, for poor, so people who are middle income and lower income folks, that closing some of that student loan debt would really start to close the between the rich and the poor, not the super rich, not, we ain't touching the 1%, those, but closing some of that gap for 40%. That's significant. And yes, when we talk about it for Black folks, it is trickle down. So we know that. I know folks that listen to us know we're we talk about that trickle down. We're talking about overall fixes. So that's what that would do. When you start to talk about early childhood education, I'm going to be real selfish. I'm just going to say this. That doesn't help me. I'm a grown working adult. That doesn't help me. For those of us who don't have young children, it's not that we don't want to see the next generation get what they need. And I'm with you. Why is it either or? Because why is it a discussion about how you help grown adults and what we do for our kids? We should be able to help everyone with the amount of money our government collects. But because it's kind of pitting one against the other. That's what it feels like. Because personally, if I have to choose between the two, I don't have young kids right now. I don't know that I will. But for right now, for single adults, millennials who are graduating from school with all of this debt, there's a large population that won't touch. And
Right.
that population didn't vote for you. The early childhood. I mean, I'm just being. Somebody's gonna write, or do something and tell me I'm ridiculous or I'm mean or whatever. I don't care. I mean, seriously, that's not a fix for those of the folks who are worried about where they're right now, where they're getting out of some of this debt, even though most people ain't paying, who are in this crisis ain't paying the student loan debt now anyway, because they don't have the money, but just having that debt off their back. But here's what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to pay for it some kind of way. Either way. We know that. The government will figure out a way. But lie to us. Give us some good optics on this. Make us feel like you really care and
Right.
cancel that debt. That's that early childhood education. I just
That don't even make sense. like when you just said it, when you juxtapose the two, like, listen, I know you need this student loan debt canceled. I can't do that. But what I will do is make these kids have a much better time in school when they're 5.
I'm gonna build for the future that you won't be in to see.
Like you it would make more sense. You said, listen, I'm not gonna cancel student loan debt, but what I will do is slash all tuition across the board by 20% everywhere. Yeah, okay. All right. I can live with
Who
that.
does that help? See, there are people who are not planning on going to school now, or who have been to school who are in debt right now.
I was
Who
gonna
have
say, because
lost
there's
their
some folks who
job.
need to finish their degree but can't afford it. There's still
Okay,
some folks who need to go back and get that master's, because right now bachelors only get you but so far. So folks who want to go back to school and can't, because that's still insanely expensive. So I
so
get what you're saying. But I'm like, yeah, I'm with you. Like, it makes no sense to say, hey, can't cut this debt. We're gonna make early childhood better
and
though.
guess what? Here's the other thing, Ross. You didn't run on the platform of early childhood education money coming from there. How about that? You didn't run on that. You ran
Man.
on student loan debt. You ran on the $15 increase to minimum wage. That's what you ran on. Those are the platforms you ran on. So stick to the platforms you ran on. How about that? Now let me sum that up real nice. Is that better? Is that clear enough? I thought
Mhm.
so. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
just saying. I mean, that's what you ran on. So this other stuff, great. You come up with this other stuff later on. That's cute. How about sticking to the stuff you promised? That's all I'm saying. Just stick to the stuff you promised. So we're gonna look to see what happens with that. Uh, um, there's something about a $245 million for Raytheon weapons. I don't have all the information on that, but we're looking into that. That there was the United States has signed off on some kind of $245 million debt for weapons, Raytheon weapons. We're going to get that information. Someone sent that to me kind of late. That's a lot of money. That would pay off a whole lot of student loan debts. I don't know
Mhm.
what this Raytheon weapons thing is, but we'll have the information on the next show. And we are, you know what? By the way, you know how we love our people so much. We're recording right now. We're still going to give you the show on the next week. Like in a couple
Mhm.
of days, we'll be recording again. That's how much we love our people, by the way. So I'll have that information for you. But yeah, $245 million going for some weapons. I don't know, Joe. I don't like it. I don't like it. I mean, okay. So with this, let's get on to um our next bit. Oh, by the way, before we move on, you know who got invited? Whose people has reached out to someone else? Ice Cube.
Yeah.
The Biden campaign has reached out to Ice Cube. He hasn't been talking about it. The only thing that he said so far is that the Biden administration has reached out. They want to have a meeting about the contract with Black America that y'all folks were so mad about because Trump reached out about. Obviously, the contract with Black America is important enough now. Now the Democrats are really serious about reaching out about
Right.
it.
Now that we've won, now we can talk, which I
Now we
thought
can.
was lame to begin with. We'll talk after you vote for us.
It's
Nah,
still
fam,
lame as
that's not how
hell.
that's supposed to work. It's still, and again,
It's
on
lame
the
as
one end, it's like,
still
hey,
lame as hell.
I'm glad y'all talking to Q. But wait a minute, wasn't it just a minute ago? Wasn't it fuck you because we got the lift every voice plan, so we good?
Well, oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Since the suggestion of the Biden administration reaching out to Cube, folks have not, don't act like folks have been talking about, a lot about it. That's why I brought it up. Because it's radio, like you say, radio silence on the fact that the Biden administration wants to talk to him. So obviously, whatever plan that he has in place, whatever he was talking about is important enough that they reached out. The date has not been set. He did do a small interview saying that they have not set a date. They have reached out and they want to talk about the contract with Black America. Don't you think that the people that came after him owe him an apology? Maxine Waters, don't you think that they owe him an apology?
They do. On his face, they
I
absolutely
really
do.
do. I think
They
they owe
do.
him an apology, even with nothing. Even though there's only been a kind of we want to talk to you thing happening, no set date. I think that the fact that the contract with Black America was important enough that the Biden administration, for whatever reason, whether this is just game plan or whatever, reached out to him, and she's a part of that administration by being a Democratic politician. At this point in time, they owe him an apology.
Like I
He
said,
obviously, all of them, they owe him an apology.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. What
um,
did you say?
I was gonna say, I still wonder, like, what's the point though? Did you lift every voice plan? Wasn't that the whole idea? By the way, I took a quick flip. I had to go revisit that
Mm,
because they're not gonna go too off the deep end. But I was curious after that incident with the 9-year-old girl in Rochester that got pepper sprayed and such. I was curious what the plan said as far as police reform, and boy, is it thin. Does not specifically outline anything. So I'm like, about that police reform, everybody you ran on that you promised as well. When we gonna get to that part?
well, he
When do
didn't.
we get to the black part? Let me just put it out there. First one of the days, lots of executive orders signed. When do we get to the black part?
But he
Just
didn't run on police reform. That was part of the issue. He didn't run on no strong platform for police reform. He wasn't defund. He wasn't singing defund the police, and he didn't have any strong reform suggestions. That was part of the issue. What are you talking about? He is doing now. When it comes to that, he's doing what he said he was going to do. Nothing in terms of real police reform. There's nothing happening. I
mm,
mean, the fact that we just said the Chicago mayor Lightfoot felt comfortable enough giving 60% of her. How do you even do that? How does that even, how do you do that? What do you, how does that even make sense anyway? I don't want to get back into, but it's so
right,
insane. Every
right.
time we bring it up, it's like COVID funds police department, COVID funds your 60%. What, how do you, anyway? So do you think that if there were a strong movement for police reform coming from the top office in this country, that she would have done that? And she's a Democrat.
Good point. Good point.
Okay, there you go. So no, he didn't run on no strong. I don't know what you're talking about. That wasn't his platform.
You're
No,
right.
that was part of the
You're right.
criticism that it
That
wasn't
was
strong.
that was our VP that was talking that noise. My apologies. That
For
was our
two
VP.
seconds. For 2 seconds, she did it for 2 seconds. Wasn't it
Oh yeah,
until she became the nominee for VP? Wasn't it as she was running for president? But when she became the candidate for VP, I don't remember any
well,
strong
I'll put
language.
it you like this. She I because I I sent it to you. Her spot on the View where she read Megan McCain for filth in regards to defunding the police gave me hope. But here we are.
Mm, oh,
But
okay,
she was talking that talk. Like, this is why we need police reform. This is why we talk about reallocating resources, defunding police. I'm like, oh, you
listen,
talking that talk. And here we
listen.
are.
I would have, even if she said, I get it. Because I get why people. We're going off on a tangent. Don't want to
My
defund.
bad.
I get it. But if you don't have a real strong reform idea, reform suggestion, new way of allocating funds other than what Lightfoot did, you just don't get it. You just don't care.
All the
You just don't
noise.
get it at this point. So yeah. Speaking of policing, policing women's bodies has been a hit in the last
Well,
week or so since we've been. I'm still doing this thing where I'm looking all over. I hope it doesn't seem crazy. For those of you listening, it doesn't. But for those of you who are watching me, I hope I'm not too distracting. Anyway, so so we policing women's bodies. Wait, so that policing hasn't slowed down. So okay, so in the last week or so since we've been with our people, a lot of stories about policing bodies. Let's talk about first Ayesha Curry. Steph Curry's wife, for in case you don't know, Ayesha Curry just did a was it a birthday shoot where she took a picture of
yeah,
herself
it
on
was
her
it was
birthday
birthday
shoot.
shoot. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's promoting some new product that she's doing. And she's the picture is just her in her birthday suit, but she's posed in a way where you see shins and shoulders in her face, basically. And
Mhm.
she caught hell for it. Um, and she caught hell for it because there was a criticism about a comment she made about women showing too much of their bodies, and and of course I'm paraphrasing. She thinks that in this society that women show too much skin and there's nothing left to the imagination, blah blah blah. So she takes this picture now. All of a sudden, all the feminists and super freedom liberal, you hypocrite folks, cancel culture folks have come after her. I, well, first of all, there's a collective that is looking for a reason to fight. We know that. That's what I think that a lot of what cancel culture is that there are people who are just looking for a fight. They are looking for any opportunity to rise up and complain. Okay. The picture that we are talking about does not show, it shows shins and shoulders. And her skin looks beautiful, by the way. What did you think of that controversy? What did you think of that?
I mean, at this point, how about you just say you don't like her? Because this is a reach. Not you specifically, of course, but
I,
for those who well, see, you just how about listen? How about you just come out and say you don't like Aisha Curry? You mad at her life. You mad she's successful. She's beautiful. She's got an awesome husband. Just do that because this is a reach. It's an extreme reach. Like there was nothing sexy or sexual or revealing about the pic that she took. So this
is,
whole "Well, you're lying, you're contradicting. No, not even a little bit. Not even a
is
little bit.
nudity problematic in itself?
Yes. No, correction. Women, female nudity, particularly black women nudity, is problematic in this culture. Shouldn't be, but is.
I got a question for you when you say that. When do we get to see male nudity? We don't really
Um,
see male
guys
nudity.
are guys
You
are topless everywhere. Guys don't have shirts on everywhere.
do we okay, I guess because there's less on the male body that's considered sexual. Like for women, there's the breast. Women's breasts are sexual when they're not nursing, and even when they are nursing. And then we also have genitalia, the buttocks
Mhm.
and vaginal area for women. For
Mhm.
men, the chest of the man is not. It's considered more sensual than sexual. Um, so there's more of us that is considered sexual. And I think
Agreed.
we have to tell some truth about the differences with us. So, in terms of covering bodies, the way we interpret bodies of men and women are different. So, there's that. Because I'm not saying Aisha Curry was right or wrong in terms of what she said about women need to cover, because I, to a certain degree, believe.
Actually, hold on a second. Hold on a second. I kind of want to correct that one. Some of that people ran with. She said I prefer to take my clothes off for my husband. So, that's if you want to show your goodies, go right ahead. What I'm saying is I prefer to take my clothes off for my husband. That's not an indictment of what anybody else is doing per se. She's just simply saying in a world where everybody wants to show cheekage, cool, I'm just gonna take it off for my husband. And everybody took that and just ran with it.
Exactly. But we knew what she meant. She meant that the IG models, she meant some of these celebrities are always nude, and that it was, and it is, I mean, to a certain degree, I mean, it is a bit, I mean, I'm not, this, not this Puritan, not the saint, but you and I have had these conversations. I just think that to a certain degree, women on have just gone overboard with always being naked, always showing ass. We're not gonna name names, because when we start naming names, we get into debates. We're not doing that tonight, because this is a show. We're not staying on here all night with the show, going back and forth.
Isaiah,
But I mean, to a certain degree, you kind of go, enough already. And
well,
there
I'm
is
just
not and I've said to you, there's no male equivalent of that. That's the other issue. There is not a male equivalent of that.
I
Yeah. Where is it? Who is it?
it depends. You gotta follow certain fitness pages because there's a ton of dudes who work out shirtless and in these tight little compression shorts in
Okay.
every freaking workout.
Who
Like,
is
bruh,
checking
really?
for? There's a certain demographic. I'm talking about the people that are on the major platforms that all of us know about, the major male celebrities. We do not have an equivalent of that. We do not have the male version in the rap world, and I've said this before, the Megan and the Cardi, in terms of nudity. We don't, or the Nicki, or the Iggy Azalea, whatever, whoever you're talking about. When you name a woman in that genre specifically, even even to a certain degree, we've seen bits of other people like Lady Gaga. There's been some pictures that have been, and back before her, Madonna did a lot of salacious. There are not male equivalents of that. So yeah, Aisha saying what she said wasn't so out of line. But the fact that she took a picture where she's nude now, even though she's not showing anything, and I'm just putting it out there, not saying I agree, does it make her a hypocrite?
No.
That was the controversy. She's a hypocrite because she's nude.
Yeah.
I don't agree either. I don't think, because I think that what she showed is that you can be nude and still be tasteful and not show everything. I think what she did was she went and double piled all those girls who are online, ass out, breasts out, damn, I mean, really lips out to a certain degree, and said, yeah, see, I did it, and I still did it without showing everything. So there you go. That's what I think. Hello.
Okay. I'm like, I'm like,
Because you love a naked woman. So that's why.
yes and no. I'm actually getting. I mean, I'm actually. It sounds weird, but I'm actually getting desensitized. Like,
That's part of it. Now there's
oh,
not even an
okay,
excitement about the
it's
woman's body.
like okay, another ass. All right,
There you
next.
go. You just proved my
It's
point. It's so
because
much of it.
like,
It is all the sensuality, all the mystery is gone. There is the fantasy of trying to guess what somebody looked like without their clothes off. Well, you don't have to guess,
well,
because
I'm
there
gonna
it is.
put it to you like this. It's just. It's gonna sound weird, so I'm trying to make it make sense. Ass for ass's sake, for at least for me, is getting boring. It's gotten boring. Everything is your ass. Ask for a statement is different. When it's artistic, it's different. When it's, as I always say, a middle finger to patriarchy, that's different. But
We've gone
just
past that point.
every picture you take is your ass, just
We've
for the
gone
sake of
past
your
that.
ass. Okay.
We've it's done so much, you can't even, it's hard to have that moment even in art where it looks like it's making some kind of say.
Yeah.
It
Like
doesn't register
classic
anymore.
Riri, love Rihanna. Rihanna has taken some very artistic nudes. It's not just here I am naked, I'm Rihanna. No,
Rihanna,
Rihanna's taken some very
Rihanna,
artistic nudes.
Rihanna, we are tired of seeing your areolas. We are tired of seeing your nipples, and we're tired of seeing your ass. You've got billion-dollar industry. We don't need to see any more of your ass, your breasts, your nipples, none of that. Thank you. Okay. Now what? Now what?
I don't even know how to like. I don't know
Yeah.
if you can
Now
put
what?
that. Like, wow, I don't.
Yeah. We done had enough,
Megan's
girl.
performance on SNL, very politically charged. Beyonce's performance at the Super Bowl, cheekage exposed, very Black Panther theme. And of course, my favorite poster child for middle fingers, Lizzo, always a middle finger to
Lizzo,
patriarchy. So it's like it's
Lizzo,
not just, hey, here's my ass. It's no,
Lizzo,
here's an ass that is a statement to say
Lizzo.
here's
We've had enough
to
of you putting your ass on Instagram. And not because it's a big ass, but because you're better than that. And you are prettier than most of the women out in the game anyway. So you don't have to continue to try to give or compete by showing your ass. You don't have to compete. You play an instrument, you sing, you dance, and you do it well. You're
right, but she
talented
is
and
also
you're
savvy.
beautiful. And we're tired of you showing your ass just to show it, just for shock value. We're not shocked anymore. We're over it. Please stop.
It's not for shock value. It is to pretty much keep the fat shamers in their place.
It doesn't keep the fat shamers in their place. Speaking of which, the Cosmopolitan February cover. Here
Right.
we have, I don't know if you've seen them, the February covers of Cosmopolitan Magazine. There's several of them. A few of them have some very large women, women who exercise and take care of their bodies in the way that they believe works for them. And
Mhm.
people are having an issue about it. I just saw the February issue. So that means they've been out for a while because we're getting ready to hit March. I hadn't seen them. Of course, someone sent them to me. Thank you, people. And it's a big controversy because you have a few fat models on a couple of or large plus size. I don't. Is fat? Is it okay to say fat? I'm
I
I'm
don't know.
I'm a
I'm really
I'm a
don't
big
know.
woman, so I've told you I'm like, well, I'm like a 14 now, but that's average, but it's still big. I mean, it's not it's not little, and I know I look bigger on some. Before y'all write in and say you look bigger, I okay, whatever.
Stop.
I mean, and you here's the thing, you got to take the power first. You know what I'm saying? You got to
Yeah.
because there's somebody that thinks that they by saying something that they're getting at you. You got to get up early because I'm here. I'm already with it. So okay. So so there's a plus size, couple plus size women on the cover who don't look like what we have typically touted as the poster children for fitness. Um, and so there's been controversy about that. Policing women's bodies again because we don't seem to have that going on with men. But then again, I don't know that men's fitness magazines have put a heavy man on their
Yeah.
cover.
I mean,
So,
the as someone that is in fitness, I will say this. Um, there is definitely a expectation if you are in the fitness world to look a certain way. You don't really exist if you don't have six pack chiseled abs. Like that's on the male side. You
and
can't
as a
safely
woman,
take your shirt off. Well, women and women have much more scrutiny, but women also have an equalizer. In the fitness industry, there's a running joke. The more abs or the more ass you have, the more eyeballs and things you can sell. And even if women have flat stomachs but a big derriere, life is great. On the male side of things, not so much. You got a six pack and defined chiseled abs, or you don't. And there is still scrutiny there, but no, when you look at men's fitness and men's health, it's never a guy with any like, extra body fat. Shout
yeah,
out to Rihanna for having bigger size, plus size brothers as models too, real
yeah,
quick.
yeah.
But
It'd be
yeah,
nice if
it's
they were not switching, but like there was not like she didn't let the gentleman I saw, like she didn't have the plus size, just the plus size kind of regular guy. This was a very over the top, and I felt like they were compensating for him being big by making him over exaggerated and
oh wait,
very
this is on a
flamboyant.
runway.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
see,
guy.
then extra props because I wasn't aware of that. I was just aware of the print ads where she
Oh,
had a lot of big. Yeah, she
I
had
didn't
print ads where it
yeah,
was bigger brothers with man boobs, so to speak, and
yeah,
rocking the Savage Fenty boxer. So
yeah.
kudos.
Well, I missed
This is
that.
why we love Riri. This is why we
Yeah.
love Riri.
Well, the show, I maybe I missed it. Maybe I need to look at it because the show she had a heavy set guy with man boobs, but he was so like kind of this thing, and I'm like, if he's representing for just bigger men, let him stay in the confident male masculinity of a big man and not have to be overdone. I felt like there was a weird compensation with him.
Mm.
And maybe I didn't see the whole show, but I did see that
Mhm.
particular gentleman, and I thought that was a. I hope there was more to it, but okay.
Yeah, but I
But
think the magazine cover was a little bit misleading. I think people took it and got really offended because it said, this is healthy. And it's like they're not saying that, hey, being a certain way or being this size is healthy. This is their way of saying, I am this size and I can be or I am healthy. It's not saying be big, but that's one of my bigger issues anyway. And that kind of circles back to the Lizzo. Stop trying to eyeball people's health. Okay.
that's true. I agree with that. You cannot tell simply by the size of a person how healthy they are. That is true. And I think that that's what the magazine was saying. This is healthy in addition to other things being healthy. Yeah, this is healthy. Yeah, but again, we don't women don't get the comfort to live in their skin
Let me ask you
without
something.
some okay.
Because
Oh,
here's, and I don't know, but because I'm relatively just a regular guy. I know regular guys. We, in the circle of guys I know, we don't have a problem with double digit sizes. You size 14, 16, awesome. Is there really brothers out here fat shaming? Like, seriously, that's happening? Or is
um,
this a thing we just these goofballs on social media?
I think it depends on the circle you're in. I think it depends on probably okay, so here we go. And I hate to give this person any more because we have mentioned him and I mentioned him in passing, but there's a larger movement happening now with a gentleman by the name of Kevin Samuels, who has been online, who's been the biggest to me. I think I look at him as just a disruptor. Um, oh God, I don't even know what the word is, but there's this movement that we're starting to see online where there's a collective of men that have been joining this. It seems like an anti-woman movement. And part of that movement is about criticizing not just women for their looks, but just whether they're mothers or not. We're not going to get into this whole conversation. But a lot of what's coming up is that women's bodies, under this new movement of men who are supposedly taking their power back and in relationships, are defining women's worth, not just attractiveness, but worth by size. One of the first questions, when if you've ever seen an interaction with women and this particular gentleman, Kevin Samuels, the first questions he asks women is, what is your height and what is your dress size? And what did you weigh the last time you weighed yourself? So that movement of men joining that collective and that thought process, let me tell you how fast this heinous collective has grown. It went from, I think, in the last 2 months, I think he went from having like 100,000 followers to 400,000, mostly men, and unfortunately, mostly Black men. So, I think when you ask that question, does it happen? Is there criticism that women get for certain sizes? Yeah, sure. I mean, and I'll talk to you. I'll talk personally. I don't. I've never had as an adult woman a man say to me, "Well, I don't like you because you're plus size woman." But I remember when I was younger. that being an issue. It was an issue for me. So when things are an issue for you, they are going to be an issue for other people because you carry it. Do you know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
something that you carry in your spirit about not feeling comfortable in your skin. And I go through waves with it. I mean, I've gone through waves of feeling comfortable and not comfortable and feeling beautiful and not feeling attractive at all. I'm in my good stage now, so let me let y'all know. So even though for me, this isn't the ideal for me in terms of comfort level and body, but that's personal. It isn't because of anyone else or I want it for anyone else. It's just my own thing. But yeah, women come under criticism and fire for body types. And if women didn't, you wouldn't see so much in terms of celebrity culture, at least, so many women going under the knife. You see a lot of women who don't even look like themselves. All of these fake, ridiculous bodies. And even in kind of regular women's lives, I have friends that have had conversations. We had conversations, and they've talked about fixing and nipping and tucking and doing things. And again, I'm honest with my audience. I just, there are probably things I would have done in terms of nipping and tucking if I just wasn't afraid of the needle and the knife. I mean, I'm
I
just,
just,
to be quite honest, I mean, you're talking about a person who just, I'm just not for the cuts and scrapes and, the cuts and gashes and what, even if they're minor and they'll heal up, I'm just not for
I'm
the
not,
whole lot of
I
medic,
just,
I'm not a medicine, I'm not trying to have you put me under, I'm not, all that old shit that you got to do to have those things, those have probably kept me more from doing anything than just feeling like I should not do it. um so yeah, we do, women do feel, some women do feel, and especially if you're single. And I know you're trying to get in here, but keep in mind, this is the other thing that you have to think about, and I'm from a demographic of women that is the most unmarried group. So African American women, um even though one there's a group of us that will tell you that Black women are more comfortable in their bodies than other women, we still feel like we're critiqued more than other groups. So even though we've managed to be comfortable in our skin, compared to other women, we our nose, our lips, all of those things until other women get them have come under scrutiny. We've lived under scrutiny about our hair. If someone said to me today, why you keep pressing, blowing your eyes in it curly? Like I like if I change it up, that I'm saying something about my comfort level, and I'm not. It's just something I'm doing for a couple of months, maybe, until I'm ready to do something else. I was on I'm a panelist on another show. I know my audience didn't know that, but I'm a panelist on another show. Um, and on that show, there was a critique about, the Gorilla Glue girl, and that conversation opened up about Black women and hair. We're
mm,
not going to go into that. But what I said was, even though I don't, you've not seen me wear hair on any of these shows, doesn't mean I won't. And it has nothing to do with not having hair, because obviously you all see I have plenty of hair. I've decent length hair, I've all of that, but it doesn't mean I won't change up. But we come under scrutiny. White women have worn extensions and weaves and wigs forever, or for since the beginning of time. But Black women come under scrutiny for it. So sizing, yeah, and here's the other thing: BMI and BMI
trash.
and the measurements of size, we don't talk about the cultural ramifications of that, because culturally they're not fitting for everyone. BMI is based on, for initially, BMI is based on white male bodies. And then, there was an extension to white female bodies. We do not, bone density, that heavy sizing and shaping is very different, from race to race and from different cultures.
Mhm.
Maasai Africans look different from African Americans. They're very tall and thin. We just, so we, all
Is
of the stuff that we use to measure is just not fair in itself. I went a long way to answer that damn question. I can't believe I took that long. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. But
no,
I
I
want to
mean,
get a full scope on that answer. There's a lot to that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I totally understand and respect that. You know, I just some of this stuff just seems so foreign. Like this happens. It's really brothers out here on some, you know. Now I have come across, there's a sister I know, amazing dynamic sister. And she was plus size, still is. And she'd get the backhanded thing. It's, man, you fine, but you'd be fine if you lost X amount of pounds. Or, oh man, you so fine for a big girl. And it's like, okay, you still trash, bro. Okay, you're still trash. And I mean, it just,
But it's not just men that say that to women. Other women say that to other women. You got your family members that say that to you. So that's not
oh,
something that just happens with men. It is across the board. It is across, and that happens to all women. It's not just Black women. It happens to all women. Those kind of comments. Yeah, yeah.
that's, wow. Who? Okay, I wasn't sure because like who out here in these streets
Oh, you don't have
really?
sisters, so yeah,
But
you
I
don't.
have a sister circle, and these are some real solid, amazing women in my world. You know, so it's like who out here in these streets trying to body shame still? And
Well,
it is usually, listen, if you shape like, you know, not knocking, but if you yourself is looking like how Rick Ross used to look, because Rick done lost some weight now. But if you yourself looking like how Rick Ross used to look, how you out here body shaming other women?
but it
How
doesn't.
you body shaming women?
But that I mean, okay.
It's just like it just
Perpetrators of those kinds of comments look all kinds of ways.
wow.
Yeah. So we spent a whole lot of time on that. But let's talk about body policing and body shaming in another way, because your girlfriend, who you love too, your other girlfriend, your side chick, Megan The Stallion, is actually is coming under fire this time for her new Harper's Bazaar cover, where she kind of she's kind of understated. She looks very understated in the picture, so you don't have the colorful wigs and all the makeup and all. She's done a very understated layout for Harper's Bazaar, and believe it or not, people are mad saying
They
she
mad.
looks plain. So you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. I thought when I saw the cover, because she's still in the little, but briefs, legs out, kind of her thing, less ass out, less up on the, you're not seeing the full groin area like you usually would see. It's a little more tastefully done. I thought she looked more sophisticated. What I will say this, when I did look through this thread, I will say that I think the photographer did not do a great job. I think that if
Ouch.
there's
That's
any
ooh.
controversy, I think that he didn't do justice to Megan's natural beauty. I thought the photographer, I think if anything, if there should be a controversy, the photographer failed just in doing his job. Those pictures to me could not her styling or what she's wearing. Those pictures could have been better in terms of quality, in terms of lighting and angles and all those sorts of things. But in terms of her statement in this particular, and didn't read the article, but this is a different side of her that she wanted to show, and understated, very natural, more sophisticated. I thought the idea of it was great, and for her to be catching controversy because she's undone a bit is it again. Here we go. Here we go.
How dare you be naked all the time? How dare you not be naked more?
How dare you? Right? How dare you wear all that fake hair and wigs and weaves, and then how dare you take it out? Your makeup is over the top. How dare you not wear enough makeup? It's like, it's the ridiculousness of it all. Women, listen, folks, let women be. Let us be who we are. But in with that, here I go. Women, be okay to just be okay. I think that we've got to stop this stunt culture where women feel like they gotta have the smallest waist, the biggest ass. I mean, I don't even want to say what I'm getting ready to say here, but we're looking at, if you, oh God, I'm gonna say it. If you look at the new Cardi B, and she's starting to look like a wax figure.
Oh
And this is somebody's 20 something years old. And the face
goodness.
that you saw 2 years ago is it doesn't look like the veneer teeth that look like they belong to a horse, and the eyes that are so pulled there, she's starting to look like an Asian I mean, she looks Asian a
Mm,
bit. Like and it's like you look at the pictures now, and I'm who is this person? And why does this 20-some-year-old have this much work done? Why at 20 something, when you're at your height of your, as a woman, most women are coming into really the height of their beauty in their late 20s and 30s. Why does she look like that? And again, I stand on the side that people should be able to do what they want to do in terms of their aesthetics. But you got to ask yourself, what possesses a person to think that they need to do that? When you look at like a little
industry.
Kim, Jocelyn Wilderstein, these women that like and I like Lil Kim. I'm not. I think she's talented, but I thought she was beautiful as herself. She's beautiful. So I think I'm gonna get in trouble. I think what I meant to do, I should have stopped. See, you didn't stop me.
I
You
mean,
should have
it's
stopped me before I went to the point where now I'm
I
getting ready.
mean, the question becomes, is when you do certain things, is it because you want to, or is it because you're in an industry that kind of sort of demands it? I don't. That's the inherent issue. That's why, personally, I appreciate Lizzo for what she does. I know you don't, but
No, 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 no,
if we,
no, no,
no, no,
no.
hold on, not Lizzo. Let me finish the statement. I know I was gonna say is I know you don't, but or at least you expressed you didn't. But if we rewind time a little bit, I appreciate what Amber Rose was trying to do with her slut walk and change the narrative on that. I don't know if it actually worked very
How'd that
well.
work out?
We don't know.
How
I
did that
I
work
don't.
out? Did we change
Well, it
the
brought
conversation
for me
on
personally, it made me change my scope and look at what she was saying a little bit more. It's like, okay, there is no such thing. There should be no such thing as quote unquote slut shaming. A woman owning her sexuality does not make her a slut, quote unquote. So I get what she was saying. So for me,
okay?
okay, I see you, Amber. I don't know how that. I don't know if she had the slut walks. I don't know how that went across the board. I know there's a few folks that thought it was all a stunt, thought it was all a gimmick, but I think if you listen to her messaging, again, someone just throwing rocks at the patriarchy. Someone's got to throw the bricks and the rocks in the patriarchal wall and break that bitch down.
Um, I think that to fight patriarchy by acting in men's worst behavior is not the greatest way to fight patriarchy. Like we take on men's worst behaviors. So, and here we go, since you brought this up, and we're gonna wrap this one up. Um, Steve
Okay.
Harvey's daughter, Lori Harvey, who is now the new girlfriend of Michael B.
Michael B.
Jordan,
Jordan.
has come under controversy for her. I don't want to use antics because that sounds like I'm judging her, but for
Her behavior.
her dating pattern over the
Fair.
last 24 months, where she's gone from, and I don't know if it's this order, it was Future, it was Puffy, it was one of Puffy's sons, it was Meek Mills, it was a driver she was engaged to, somebody else in there that I'm forgetting, and now Michael B. Jordan in the last 24 months. And several men have critiqued and made comments about her. And the one that got the most traction, I think, was the last statement, which was made by another rapper who we don't give two shits about in terms of what they do and what their commentary is. But I'm sharing it with you so we have perspective. A rapper by the name of Little Boosie made a statement about basically she's getting too much credit for her dating pattern. I want to say antics, dating antics. Um, because those of you who know me know what I mean by that. It's not a, it's just one of the words I prefer to use. Dating antics, and that instead of giving her the credit, I mean, his statement was so stupid. I can't even repeat it. I mean, it was so stupid, but it was criticizing her and basically suggesting that she's a hoe and a pass around. He did use the word pass around. So, here's my thing about that, and nobody would know who Lori Harvey is if she wasn't on Instagram posting who she was dating. This is not a model. She's not an actress. She's not a singer. She's Steve Harvey's daughter. So part of what you're saying and part of why you know who she is that she's made it her goal to be high profile in some kind of way. They call her model. Basically, what her mom and her have done, and I'm not criticizing it, is that they have the money and the access and they are friends with designers. So they've been allowed to walk in certain shows. That doesn't make you a model. It makes you somebody with money and access. Okay, great. So they've walked certain shows. So now she can wear the model title, just like women who pose all their pictures on Instagram call themselves models, whatever. And, this high profile thing that she has is basically for posting herself on Instagram and being with high profile men. Um, I mean, women, it's funny because some women have seen her as a slut, some women have seen her as goals. I
I
see her
mean,
as somebody
she.
who probably should probably keep her business out of the streets. But
That's possible.
but the
I
criticism with
mean,
now Michael B. Jordan is that he's a simp. There's this word everyone uses when a man is not up to par in terms of his masculinity and his power, I guess, and the word is simp. So now the you've got people calling him a simp for dating her because she's been with all these other men in this very short period of time. And I'm gonna go ahead and say what I have said to you offline. Um, I I don't know that I would think that that makes him a simp. I know from a woman's perspective, I know that if I publicly have seen a man who supposedly in that many relationships in that short amount of time and even engaged, because engaged means you've gone to this next level and so there's a few months of engagement, which is supposed to be next level serious relationship. In that short amount of time, I'm probably not going to be dating that person. That's not the person I'm going to be dating seriously.
right.
Um, and am I thinking he's a pass around? I'm thinking he probably doesn't have the greatest judgment in terms of relationships. That's what I'm thinking if I were looking at a man in that same situation. But obviously, Michael B. Jordan does not think that, and he has a right as a grown man to date who he wants to. Was
Yeah.
that diplomatic enough for you?
I mean, I think it's a very interesting thing because usually when we're having this conversation about a woman who can be accused of being a gold digger or trying to latch on to people for money or come up. She don't need no money. She don't need to come up. She good.
Why wouldn't she need money or come up?
Her last name is Harvey. Last time I
Let,
checked, we know
let me
what Steve is worth.
and see, now you got me going here. Let me be very, very clear that this girl is very well trained. Um, okay, here we go. Listen, I'm gonna put this girl up. This
You'd
girl is very
walked
well
in.
trained because her mother is Marjorie Harvey. Marjorie Harvey, prior to marrying Steve Harvey, was with a notorious drug dealer, and then either after he went to jail, dated his cousin. It's the cousin or the relative or close associate. Um, and then married Steve Harvey. I think people can change. I'm not saying because she was with a drug dealer, she's the same woman she was then, but she has had a history of dating men with money, no matter what their situation is. So there's a pattern of dating certain kinds of men. Okay. Steve Harvey, she was able to marry and have him adopt and give all her kids, including Laurie, his last name. Lori Harvey, I just told you, does not have a job that we know about. So I don't know how long the daughter gets to say on the stepdaddy or daddy, however he identifies himself, father figures, teat. And coming from a mom who has a history of not dating scrubs in terms of money, I think that the apple has not fallen far from the tree. And when you look at the men I named prior to Michael B. Jordan, this is the difference between walking the Soul Train Music Awards red carpet, which is great. I love Soul Train Music Awards, and I'm for us supporting our award shows and what we do, because that conversation is going to come up later. But to walking the Oscars. So you go from A-list black celebrity to guy who is Hollywood celebrity amongst everybody. This is a come up. Let us not, I don't want us to pretend it's not what it is. I'm not saying that's the only motivation, but it is a come up. It is, if she were married or marrying, this is a hypergamous situation because she is marrying up. This is not a girl. Again, she has access because her Steve Harvey is her father, but she doesn't have access because she got it, because she's some business girl. This is not a girl. She's not a Kylie. She didn't have a lip line or designer. I mean, this is not that. This is a come up. So if we're going to tell the truth and be diplomatic with it, but tell the truth. Now, sir.
Mean, I hadn't thought about it from that standpoint. I'm like, you have bread by default. Your parents, your dad's last name is Harvey. You have, well, I guess here's a better thing. I like you kind of put it, you have access.
You have
You
access.
can get into rooms that the sister working at Target can't get into. And I think it's just a matter of you have access.
And she's been it looks like she's been working her way up the access ladder. I mean, it from how it appears, she's been going up the access ladder. Yeah, it is what it is. Now, does that make, what is she, a gold digger? Who knows? Who knows? Because again, her mom doesn't have a job. I mean, that we know of, and didn't, but was attractive enough to work in her circle of access and managed to marry Steve Harvey. I'm not saying she's not a great woman and a great wife, but it is what it is. I mean, she is. I mean, I'm not making these stories up. She was attached to a notorious drug dealer, more than one. Steve Harvey, don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at me. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not saying that she's.
I mean, okay, in her case, there's one thing. I guess my thing is I would be hesitant to call Lori a gold digger, because in order to be a gold digger, you kind of have to have no gold yourself, and she's got plenty.
Is it women finding her goal? Remember, there's a collective that finds her goals, meaning they love the fact that she was able to get in there, use that access, and get it, go after, have these men come after her, go after them by. Sometimes women are going after you, and men don't know they're going after you. And so she's been able to work her shimmy in whatever way she's been able to work it. And for a lot of women, Michael B. Jordan is the ultimate. For he was like, because he was one of the single bad. I mean, I guess so. He was like the. I mean, everybody likes different things. But for a lot of women, Michael B. Jordan was it. I mean, Future. She went from Future to Michael B. Jordan.
I mean, you go from Future to me, and that's still a win. But yeah, I get what you're saying. From Future to me, you still winning.
I know that's right, Ross. I know that's right. That's right. You tell them, baby. That's right. I know that's right.
Just saying. But
I love it. I love it. Yes. So, I mean, we is she a gold digger? Is is
nah,
there
because
something
I
to be
mean,
said about somebody who's been
if
through that many relationships in that short amount of time? That would cause me to pause. I'm sorry.
understood. I
She said,
mean, look,
yeah.
if we're gonna tell the truth, some of the truth might be ugly. Look, men get money. And the number one thing about men getting money, especially if they come from a disadvantaged background, is I now have access to premium type women that I would never ever meet in my life. Absolutely, I'm going to exploit and abuse that access. Some do, some don't, but some absolutely do. Um, Clearly, Lori is showing us it can go both ways. I have money, I have access to certain dudes. I'm gonna play. And I'm not gonna demonize her unless I demonize these dudes too. So either we all right or we all wrong. I ain't mad at her. If like worst case scenario, maybe she just wanted to get it in with Future. For what reason escapes me, but maybe that was on her to-do list.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got a little nauseous in my head.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh my God, I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I
See,
mean,
this podcast has gone too long. I can't even control my
okay,
behavior.
all right.
There's just certain
But
people. You know how certain people just their whole thing. You don't hate them. I don't hate them, but just their whole. You're just like, yikes.
like
uh,
Future is still president of the Fuckboy fan club. Boosie's probably
all
VP.
of yeah, just that dropping babies everywhere. Those negative comments that he made about Russell Wilson. I'm just like, why would you? Just because you could.
Yeah, pretty much. Just because you could. Just because you could.
Yeah. Okay. I'm
You
sorry.
know. So
I should have controlled that a little bit better. I'm sorry.
I think it's involuntary at this point.
Oh,
I think it's
but
involuntary.
yeah.
Like
But
Future,
then
oh.
then Diddy and the son. Ugh,
Yeah, that see that one is the eyebrow raise. Like, whoa, whoa. Hey, hold it.
we spent too much time on this.
Okay.
So is Michael B. Jordan, in your opinion, from a man, is he a simp for dating her?
Not at all.
Would you
Not at
have dated
all.
her? All things
Um,
considered, she is now she's beautiful. We'll take the looks
well,
out of it
she
because she's
fine. She
beautiful.
fine.
She's a beautiful. We don't. I'm not a hater. She's a beautiful girl, but it's a lot of beautiful girls. So
I
knowing what
mean,
you know in that short amount of time, I don't know.
no, I don't. See, I don't have no kind of issues. I don't have
Okay.
the kind of. I don't have
Okay.
kind of issues. Like, look, there are
Well,
certain conversations you need to have. But that's certain. With those conversations you need to have with anybody. The only difference is, only reason we know all this is because she's famous.
no, she's famous because she made sure to put her shit in the street. She's not, remember, she doesn't do anything that we follow. So she made herself famous by making sure all her shit got in the street. Good PR,
Okay.
people good. So there's that.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, standard questions. I just need to know a few things, and I'm not. Everybody got a pass, man. It's
In
just what is in that
24 months.
pass.
In 24 months.
I
It's
mean, like I
ugh.
said, it seems like a busy 2 year stretch, but it's people walking on the block right now that's been busier.
If I don't know it, that's different. If I know is anyway. Okay. You know what, Ross? I think we made it up. I think
Yeah, we
made up we filled it in.
yeah.
Look, by the time you all get this, it's gonna be Sunday somewhere. Just
It's
maybe
still
not on
Sunday in Cali.
yeah. So by the time you get this. But we made it. So we finished the podcast. And listen, I have on these the last time I wore these, I for some reason that video didn't my hair is all in. So I'm just, because we're supporting Black business. So I have these earrings on. For those of you who can see me, these are the Taji Maj earrings that I'm wearing them again because we are supporting Black businesses and they are beautiful, they're dusters. So that you get a chance to really get a chance to see them. And again, Yeah, so we're supporting Black business. So I put them back on so you can actually get a chance to see them for those who did not see them because of our unfortunate mishap with that last podcast where I wore them. So Ross Cooper, we are glad you made
Yeah.
it.
I
You're
might,
doing,
man, listen, I hope I can get cute again by, the next
I
show.
know, Ross. I like the beard. Listen, folks. We gonna have a vote before you get rid of that. I think that's I
Because I'm like,
seriously, Ross, I'm
ooh,
like,
this is ready to go.
yo, I think that is, yeah. I don't know about all the glasses and the hat. I'm not because I can't really. I feel like I'm not really seeing you, but I like the beard, and I wouldn't lie. I think that's a round for the ladies. Yeah, I do. I
Hilarious.
think the beard is working. Okay, listeners and viewers. So give us a chance. Can you give us a chance before you get rid of it? Let's see what the lady. Okay,
Okay.
if you get rid
I
of
mean,
it,
right now I got no choice.
and
I ain't got no
right,
choice.
listen, let us know, beard or no beard. I'm rocking with the beard because it's not too much. That's what I like. Because these guys with these beards out to here, these big ass beards, I'm not a fan for the beard that hangs down and you can go searching in it and find things. That's not the thing. That's just enough. I like it. I'm with it.
Well,
Okay.
okay. All right. We'll
Okay.
wait and see.
We'll wait and see. Let us know, people. And they will.
Okay.
They will.
This
So
will be fun.
anyway, we're gonna wrap. Lord, how long have we been talking?
Like
I
an
think
hour.
I think we've been talking longer than that, but good people. Here we are. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming back for another episode of Everybody Loves Bliss. And if no one has told you, let me tell you for us, we love you and we want the best for you. Good night. Goodbye. Till next time. Say bye to the people, Ross.
Peace.